Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share with you 3 adorable cards using the Full of Love stamp set from the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog. Now this is a stamp set that I am embarrassed to say has languished on my shelf in my studio pretty much since the annual catalog went live last May. So what happens when a new catalog comes out? There are so many things that we love and we want to order them all at once. And of course, that's what I do. And then this year, especially 2 months after the annual catalog came out, we had a brand new holiday mini. And so then I was all focused on Christmas. And now here we are, it's February, and I'm finally getting back to my annual catalog order from last spring. So before this one goes away, I don't know if it's going away, I hope not, it's super cute. But before the annual catalog goes away in a couple of months, I am committed to using all of the stamp sets and products that I ordered from the annual last spring before they retire. So that's my goal. So you're going to see some annual catalog stuff from me in the coming months, as well as obviously new mini and some online exclusive items coming up in March. But I want to just shine the spotlight on this adorable stamp set for today. So the Full of Love stamp set is on page 77 of your annual catalog. You may have skipped past it. It's just a cute little set. Doesn't take up a lot of real estate in the catalog. Doesn't get a lot of attention, but I think it is so cute. And honestly, every card maker should have this set because it's got envelopes and cards being sent. And how cute is it to make a card about sending a card, right? So cute. So we're going to make 3 cute cards today. I'll show you some additional ideas with it. And I'm also going to give you a sneak peek of a mini Stamp-A-Stack that I'm offering with this stamp set as well. Okay, so let me pull up my video here on my iPad so I can see who's joining me. There I am, looking rather tired. All right, who's here? We've got Linda and Tracy. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Pam. Hi, Laura. Hi, Jill. All right, we've got the US connection here today. So as I said, we are all about this cute stamp set from the annual catalog. I'm going to feature some newer items along with this stamp set. So it's not all about stuff that you've kind of been looking at for the last several months. There are some new items as well. So let's flip the camera. I'm going to show you where to find it in the catalog. Again, you may have totally missed it. Who knows? And then we're going to get to some stamping. Okay, let me do the old flipperoo here. All right, that looks pretty good. Make sure we're locked in. All right, there we go. So, annual catalog, page 77. It is, sort of, like I said, doesn't get a whole lot of real estate. Couple of cute little samples up here, and that's it. But oh my goodness, the stamp set has so much potential. And it's just so, so cute. So we have adorable images, right? An envelope full of flowers. And everybody should have this to put on. How cute would this be to stamp on the back of an envelope as you're dropping something in the mail? Super, super cute. So you're going to see me use this today. We're going to, as I said, going to make 3 projects and let's get to it. All right. So first one we're going to do is this one. Now, hold on. My grid paper is cockeyed. I'm not liking that. Let's see if we can get that straightened out. Okay. I think that's better. A little more. There we go. All right. So this is the first one we're going to do. I posted this yesterday. Super simple card, but really, really sweet. I would love to get this one in the mail. So let me pull out all my bits here. We're going to start with some good old basic white cardstock. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4, so standard sort of layer size. And I'm going to ink up this adorable envelope stamp with my Memento Black ink. So we're just going to ink that. Now, these are relatively large stamps, so it's always easier to ink your stamp by taking the pad to the stamp rather than the other way around when you have a larger image. And that just helps you make sure that you're getting ink on the entire image. It can be easy to miss a portion if you do it the other way around. Okay, so I'm just stamping this image a couple of times on my white piece. I'm not worried about that gap in the middle because we are going to cover that. Sorry, my voice is a little croaky today, guys. I had an absolutely crazy day. We're into a new semester at school, and I had a morning rehearsal at 7 a.m. Then I taught 2 classes, my instrumental class, which is crazy busy. I've got like 5 different levels of player in there. Then I had an 8-hour rehearsal. Then I had 2 more classes this afternoon. So I'm just about done voice-wise. So if I am croaky, that is why. So anyway, I stamped my images, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of an outline using the light Pool Party blends. This is just almost to highlight this a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of outline my stamped image here, ever so carefully. This part is probably going to get covered. I probably don't even need to worry about this bit, but that's okay. So we're just going to outline this, and this is just going to make it pop off the page a little bit. It's a really easy little technique to do. It's almost like taking a highlighter to your textbook. When you were in school, did you highlight your text, your notes? I still use a highlighter. Mind you, I guess I'm still technically in school. So can you see the difference? See how that sort of lifts it off the page as opposed to the one that I haven't highlighted? Can you see that? So again, I'm going to come in around this one as well. I'm not going to worry about doing all the way around the envelope on this because it's not going to be seen. But we'll come in here. We're going to go up and around. Fill in around our flowers there. Fill in a little bit of this background bit here as well. And again, that's just going to bring that image up and off the page a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to worry. Oh, I better come down here a little bit. We will see a bit of that. Okay, that's all there is to it. All right, now I'm going to come in with some of this beautiful DSP. Now, who can guess where this DSP is from? I'll show you the other side. Does that help? This is another annual catalog item. This is the host paper called Design a Daydream from the annual catalog. And again, I have had stacks of this sitting around forever, and I actually used some of it to reline my die cases, and I had this little scrap left over, and it is perfect for this card. So this is cut to 2 by 4 inches. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive. Oh, it's a nice afternoon where you are, is it, Jean? It is not so nice here. It's really gloomy. It is mild, however. We are at +6 Celsius, which is a whole lot better than where we were this time last week. We are actually above freezing, which is quite nice at this time of year. Last week at this time, we were in the deep freeze. All right, so there is my background. I'm going to add a little bit of this Pool Party ribbon. So I mentioned you're going to be seeing some new items. So this is from the new mini. It is a lovely Grosgrain Pool Party ribbon that has a little bit of a sheen to it. Just a little bit of shimmer, and it's a nice weight, this ribbon. So it's a little bit heftier than some of our more sheer ribbons, but it still totally works on a card. So I'm just going to add a glue dot to both ends and wrap it around the back. So this is my little ribbon saving trick if you are new. This is me being cheap. I don't want to waste my ribbon on the back. So there we go. Okay. Now that we've got our ribbon on, we're going to go ahead and glue our card front onto our card base. So our card base here is Pool Party cardstock. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and fold that in half along our score line. Hi, Amy, you found me. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. So we're going to add just a bit of adhesive to the back of our panel here and pop this on just like that. Okay, and now we're going to work on our focal image. So I have already stamped, sorry about my voice, already stamped and fussy cut it out. These images are not difficult to fussy cut. I'm just going to say that straight up. I just did it ahead of time, so you don't have to watch me do it. And I've started doing the coloring. So the greenery is colored with the dark Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends, okay? And then I'm going to show you how I colored the blossoms. So I've done 2 of the pink blossoms. My third one, I'm using the polished pink Stampin' Blends. And the first thing I'm going to do is lay down a layer of the light polished pink. Okay, now this is my personal preference. There are many ways to color using these markers. I just personally find that easier to blend if I lay down a layer of the light first and then come in with a little bit of shadow with my dark and then come back with my light and blend it out. So that is how I prefer to use my Stampin' Blends. I know many other demonstrators don't bother with that first layer of light. Totally a matter of personal preference. Okay. All right. Now to color these little guys, we're going to use, what am I using? Dark Daffodil Delight. Okay. And I'm just going to come in and color these. I'm not going to worry about doing any shading. These are such teeny tiny little blossoms. They also look like little buttercups. So I'm just going to color these quickly with my Dark Daffodil Delight. I'm also going to color the center of the larger flower there. And then to color that larger flower, I'm going to start with my Dark Pool Party. Okay, so I'm going to color the whole flower with my Dark Pool Party. I know I just finished saying I like to come in with my light color first. Well, this is actually the lighter of the two that I'm going to use. I'm actually using Dark Pool Party and light Bermuda Bay, and that's going to give me the shading that I'm looking for. So don't be afraid to mix up the color combinations when you are using your Stampin' Blends. You don't only have to use the light and dark of the same color. Okay, so don't be afraid to play around, mix and match, get a little bit of scrap, do some blending, and see what you like. And it just so happened that this combo was exactly what I was going for this flower. So there is my first layer. And then I'm going to come in with my light Bermuda Bay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow sort of to the crease in the petals there. And I'm actually not going to blend that. I'm just going to kind of let it sit. It's going to blend out a little bit, and that's it. Super simple, right? Now to color my envelope, I'm going to come back with my light Pool Party. So this is the same shade that I used to do my outline on my background images there. And I'm coloring the envelope with the Pool Party. Now you could certainly leave the envelope white. I just wanted it to stand out a little bit as compared to the ones that I stamped on the background. So I'm just coloring my whole background area here with my light Pool Party. Okay, and then I'm going to color the rest of my envelope. And for this, I like to use long strokes. I just find that they blend a little bit better. I mean, you don't have to do that, but that's just my preference. And then I'm going to come across this way and just run across the full length. Okay, and then same thing on this side. Come down the length. And there we go. Okay, there's my softly colored envelope. All right, so that is going to pop up here. I'm going to put it a little bit lower because my sentiment is going to go there. So let's stamp our sentiment before we glue that on, just so we can get the correct placement. So I have here a little banner that I have die cut from using the Stylish Shapes die. So this is just cut from white cardstock. And I have one of the sentiments from the stamp set. It says, "Always grateful for you." Now I'm going to do a practice run here just to see. Yep, see, it's crooked. This is why we do a practice run, to try and get it straight. So we're going to see what happens here. Well, that's not bad. Is that good enough? Is that straight? Yep, I can live with that. All right, there we go. So we are going to go ahead and adhere this first, and then we will add our image. So we're going to grab a couple of dimensionals here. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. I love playing with stamps and ink and paper. It makes me happy. this is the best part of this job, right? There's a whole lot of this job that I don't love so much, like cutting cardstock and prepping kits and that kind of stuff. It's not so much fun. And the part that's especially not fun is all of the computer stuff. I love going live and chatting with you girls each week, but the, you know, updating my website and all of that stuff, not so much fun. But the playing with ink and stamps and paper makes it all worthwhile. So all I'm doing here is adding a couple of dimensionals to the back of my colored envelope here. And we're going to pop this on. I just want to take care that I'm not covering up my sentiment. So I'm going to do it a little bit cockeyed and stick it down right about there. Okay. Now we're going to add a couple of touches here. We're going to tie our sweet little bow. So I'm bringing back some more of that Grosgrain ribbon. And I'm going to make my 2 bunny ears, cross my left over the right, bring it around and through. Okay, then I'm going to adjust my loops, make them nice and small and tight, so that when I pull my knot, I get a nice tight knot without gigantic loops. Okay, and then we're going to trim our tails. Oh, that's a little long. Trim that a bit short. Ooh, that's a little bit of an angle. There we go. That's better. And then we're going to add a glue dot to the knot. Oh, hi Karen from Iowa. How you doing? I hope things are good there. So I'm going to add my bow, just kind of where the ribbon meets the envelope there. And then I'm going to add some of my very favorite embellishments. If you've been watching since the catalog went live, you've probably seen these sequins in action every week because I'm a little addicted to them. So I'm just going to come in with a couple of adhesive back sequins here. They are seriously the best embellishments in the catalog, if you ask me. All right, so there we go. Easy peasy. You know, on the inside of this, I'll just quick show you. I just added another basic white layer and just stamped the top portion of the envelope to get the floral and colored that in the same way I did on the front. Okay, so there we go. That's number 1 done. Let's clean up our mess here. And come in with number 2. So my challenge, I love to challenge myself when I'm stamping. It keeps it interesting. And so with this set, I wanted to try to come up with something masculine. Because, well, we all know we struggle with man cards. At least that's what I hear from lots of people. And so I'm looking at this and going, okay, flowers. How do I make something manly out of this? So I focused on this little envelope. Men like to get mail. I know my husband does. So this is what I came up with. I focused on just the envelope, fussy cut the envelope out from the flowers, so no flowers in sight. Chose some DSP from the new mini and created a faux embossed background with the postage stamp punch. And I think this works for a man card. So let me show you how to put this one together. So we're going to start by creating our faux embossed background. So again, I'm starting with a piece of basic white, same dimensions as the last card, so 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a whole bunch of white postage stamp punched pieces. Okay, so this postage stamp punch is, excuse me, from the annual catalog as well. It's been around for a couple of years. And I just punched a whole bunch randomly. So we're going to just sort of pick a spot on this basic white piece. I'm making sure it's straight. I'm going to line it up with my grid lines. And I'm just going to pick a spot to start gluing on the postage stamp. So I'm going to use liquid glue just so that I have some time to wiggle things into place. So I'm going to start here. I'm lining up my first piece. It's kind of important to get that first piece straight and square, right? And I'm just, having said that, going to adjust this a little bit, make sure that's still straight. Yeah. Okay, because it's going to kind of determine the rest. It's going to determine your fate for the rest of your card here. So now that I've got this piece on, I'm going to kind of work up from there. So I'm going to glue on another one. You'll notice I started with it hanging off the edge. That's because I kind of wanted to create sort of a brick pattern so that they're not all sort of in a row. So I started with it off the edge. So this one I'm going to offset a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here and come out the same distance that I did on my first one. So again, a little bit of glue. Keep that nice and straight. And put that one on right about there. Okay, and then up here, same deal. I'm going to kind of come line it up with this one. Okay, it's going to hang off the edge. That's okay. We're going to trim off the excess in a minute. So we'll keep this one on. We're going to put it on right about there. Let that get set up. Okay, I'm going to come down here, do the same thing. All right. So a little bit of glue across the top portion. And we're going to add this one. I'm not sure how well this white on white shows up on the video. I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing here. I didn't really think about the white on white piece when I was designing these. All right, and then I'm going to come in and fill in some of my gaps here. So we'll fill in this one, and we're going to fill in this one. Just like that. Okay, these little bits we're still going to fill in. Don't you worry, we haven't forgotten about them. But first I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'm going to use these little bits to fill in the gaps. So I'm just going to flip this over, and using the edge of my cardstock as a guide, I'm just going to take my snips and trim off the excess. So we'll go all the way around. Trim off that one. And we'll trim off this one. There we go. Okay. And then, as I said, I'm going to come in with these extra little bits. This little guy is going to fit quite nicely right about there. So we'll just add a little bit of glue and pop it on. Flush with our edge. Just like that. Okay, this little guy can fill in down here. So we'll pop a little bit on there. Just like that. And then this little bit is going to fill in up here. So we're going to put just a smidge in the one corner and fill in that little gap. So you don't have to waste all those offcut bits. You can use them to fill in sort of the partial sections on your background. You can certainly do the entire card front this way if you wanted to, but because I'm going to use some DSP, I didn't really feel like it was necessary because it was going to get covered up anyway. So we're just going to trim these bits off, and we're golden. There we go. Okay, so there is our faux embossed background with the postage stamp punch. All right. Okay, hi Sonia. All right, now we are going to go ahead and add some DSP. So this DSP is from the Flowers and More Host DSP from the new Mini. And it is, again, a mega pack of DSP, 48 12 by 12 sheets with so many patterns and fun, bright colors. For those of us that like bright, springy colors, this pack is a dream. I absolutely am loving it. And even though it's called Flowers and More, there's a lot of and more, okay? So it's not, oh, I don't need another floral DSP. As you can see from this piece, there are lots of other patterns that work for any occasion. Okay, so there is my DSP. Now, I have already taken the liberty of stamping and cutting out my envelopes, but I'm going to do one just to show you what I did. So I have just a little scrap here of, what the heck is this? Tranquil Tide is what it's called. Oop, ooh, that was close. Drop my ink pad face down. So I have here the stamp that has the envelope as well as all the flowers. So I'm just going to ink up. I don't really need to worry about inking the entire stamp, but I want to make sure that envelope is well inked. And I'm just going to stamp it on this little scrap. I only need the envelope. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to bring in my snips, and it's really just a matter of cutting this out. Now, Stampin' Up was very thoughtful in designing this stamp, and there's actually a little bit of a gap between where the image, the floral image ends and the envelope starts, making it super easy to fussy cut and not get part of the flowers as you're cutting. So it's like Stampin' Up knew we would want to do this. Planned ahead for us. All right, so there we go. There are all of our envelopes. So now it's just kind of a matter of placing them on the front of our card. So I'm going to do some glued flat. So this little guy, this first one is going to be glued flat. So we're going to pop in on right about there. And then we're going to pop up a couple. So we'll kind of do 1, 2. And pop this one on. And I like to kind of do them all wonky. If you are someone who prefers things straight, you are certainly welcome to do them straight. I just like the look of them being kind of cockeyed. It also makes it easy because I don't have to worry about trying to get them straight. Anytime I don't have to worry about getting things straight is a bonus, if you ask me. So we'll just add a couple of dimensionals here. And we're going to add that to there. And then this little guy is going to go flat again. So the top and bottom ones are flat. The other three are popped up. Let's do this one this way. Okay. And then I have already stamped and heat embossed this sentiment. So this sentiment is from the Full of Love stamp set. I have die cut it using a label from the Sending Dies, which are also in the annual catalog. Heat embossed it in white on black cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and layer that. I'm going to add a couple of mini dimensionals to the ends, because this is going to overlap where this is popped. So I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue on that section, just so that it lies nice and flat. We don't want dimensionals on dimensionals, right? So we'll pop this on right about there. Hopefully straight-ish. Okay, is that straight? Close enough. All right, then I have a cute little bow. This was left over from another project, so I'm just going to take and press the knot of my bow into a glue dot, and there we go. All right, now this is going to get layered on a piece of basic black cardstock. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and layer that just like that. Okay, so a little bit of glue. And we'll pop this on, just like that. Oh, that piece shifted a little bit when I cut it. It's a little crooked, but oh well. The boys won't notice, will they? Nope, they won't. My guys are lucky if they even notice it's a card I made. All right, and we have a thick basic white card base. This is the exact same dimensions as the last card, so 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I like to use thick basic white when I'm using white for card bases. It's just a little sturdier. It's very similar in weight to our colored cardstock. And I like my cards to stand up nicely. So that's why I choose to use the thick basic white. You could use regular basic white. Works just fine. I just like the additional thickness of the thick basic white. So there we go, and then we're just going to add, not bling, because boys don't do bling, we're just going to add some matte dots, matte bling, if there is such a thing. So these again are from the annual, and we're just going to take and pop a couple of these on here and there. You could add as many of these as you want, but there we go. Just some quick little something to fill in some of the white space, and there you go. Easy man card, right? From a stamp set that doesn't look very manly. So there we go. All right, moving on to our last card. So this one I have not posted yet. It will post tomorrow. But this is our last one. Again, nice, soft. I'm desperate for spring. I'm so over winter here in Canada. And so I was enjoying all of the soft spring colors of playing with this stamp set. But I'm going to show you how to do this one. Pretty straightforward. And I've done a lot of the work ahead of time. So to start, I have, again, a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white, and I have run this through with the Stitch Greenery die. Now, this is one of my favorite dies. It, again, is in the annual, and it's kind of a standalone die. It's not part of a suite. It's easy to miss, but it gives you this sort of, well, stitched sort of vine pattern, and it's so, so pretty. Now, over top of that, we're going to add some triangles. So this is using the Country Gingham DSP. So this started as a 3 by 3 triangle, okay? And all I did was cut it on the diagonal to give me the triangles to put on my card front, okay? Now you're gonna see the points are gonna hang off the end a little bit. We're just gonna trim that, but that gives you some even triangles to add to the front of your card. So let's add a little bit of adhesive here. I should have used liquid glue or seal, I just realized, because the liquid glue will ooze through the stitching on your your Stitch Greenery. So I'm going to be really careful when I am picking this up so I don't get all gluey. So we'll add a little bit to this and a little to that. Okay. And then I'm just going to trim the points off just a smidge. So it's just the teeniest little itty bitty smidge that you need to trim off to clean that up. Okay, so 3 by 3 square, cut on the diagonal, gives you your triangles. Okay, all right. Now we are going to add some ribbon. So I did this little ribbon trick. I'm not sure if you can see. Can you see how it kind of looks like it's crisscrossed, the ribbon here? But it actually isn't. So here's another little ribbon saving trick. Okay. All right. Oh, you've looked at it, have you, Margaret? Yeah, this is one, again, it's one of those sets that, you know, you might have noticed at some point in the annual, but it's just one of those that you kind of can easily miss. All right, so I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to put it at the point on my triangle, right about here. Okay. Then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to stick it to that glue dot. Okay. I'm going to add another glue dot to this end of my ribbon. Wrap that around the back. Then I'm going to fold this back on itself, trim it off, and add another glue dot. So this uses a fraction of the ribbon that you would if you actually went across the full length of the card. Okay, so I've done a little V here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So again, add a glue dot, lay my ribbon on. Just want to make sure I have enough of a length so it'll wrap around the back. I'm going to add a glue dot. Fold it over into a V, trim it off, and then again add another glue dot. So that is an easy peasy little trick that doesn't require to use all kinds of ribbon to run across the full length of the card. All right, and we're not going to see those V's because we're going to cover them up with our diamond. All right, so there's that. Let me actually stick this onto our card base so we can work on the focal point. So again, we have all of our card bases are the same today. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. So we'll just fold that in half. And we're going to add a little bit of adhesive. So here I am going to use my seal because of that stitching on my background here. I don't want any liquid glue to ooze through there and end up having my card stick to the recipient's hands. So there we go. All right. Oh, you ignored the stamp set too, did you, Jean? Yeah, it's one that, like, it's easy to miss. All right, so we're going to set that aside and work on a focal image. So I have here a stitched square. It's cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. This is the second largest one. It's not the largest. It's the second largest, I think. Maybe it is the largest. They're right there. Let me check. Is it the largest? Oh, it is the largest die. Largest square from Stylish Shapes. Okay. And then again, I've run it through using that same stitched greenery die. And then this piece is cut 2 7/8 square, and it's going to layer behind my die cut one quite nicely. So again, we'll add a little glue using tape to avoid the ooze. And we're just going to layer that. It is the narrowest of borders around this die cut. Okay, if you wanted a bigger one, you could cut a 3 by 3 square. The only challenge then becomes is that it's going to be very close to being too wide to fit across the front of your card. Okay, so that's just a little caveat about using a larger circle or a larger. This is a square. I do know my shapes. Okay, so that is going to go on there, and you see how we cover up that ribbon, and you don't even know that doesn't go all the way across. All right, but before we do that, we are going to add our focal image, and so this is that same stamp that I used on the last card with the envelope, but I have left the flowers attached to the envelope. So I'm going to quick show you how I colored these. I've done most of it ahead of time. So let's do our purple flowers first. I've done one here. So here I am using the light and dark Highland Heather. Okay. So same kind of idea as on the first card. I'm going to come in with my light first. So I'm just adding a layer of the light. Real quick here, as quick as I can do it without going out of the lines. Let's put it that way. And then again, I'm going to come in with my dark, add just a bit of shadow along the bottom, and kind of at the lip. These remind me of crocuses, these little flowers. I don't know if that's what they're supposed to be, but that's what they look like to me. My little crocuses that are the first ones to bloom in my garden every spring. And they're about this color, I should do. Maybe I'm subconsciously looking for crocuses. Nobody will find them right now. They're buried under about a foot of snow, but eventually, when that snow melts, they'll be peeking up. So again, my second one here, adding my layer of lights, adding a bit of shadow with my dark. Okay, and then again, blending it out with my light. You'll notice as I'm adding the second layer of light, I'm not quite going all the way to the top. Okay, and that gives you that nice shading. Okay, so there's my purple flowers. The pink ones are done in Flirty Flamingo. So again, I'm going to come in with my light. I'm using my bullet tip because my brush tip is quite dry. I actually used this one for a card buffet that I recently did, and one of the projects had lots of coloring with Flirty Flamingo, and so these ones are just about done. I've got just enough juice left in this one to color these little flowers, and then it's going to be time for a replacement. So I've colored with my light, and then again I'm just coming in with the dark and just filling in sort of that little sort of crease in the flower. The center of my flower is going to be some light So Saffron, as is these little guys here. So I'm going to color these little guys in the light So Saffron as well. This lovely buttery yellow. Okay, and then to color my leaves, I am going to use mint macaron. So the larger leaves, which to me look like tulip leaves, but I know they're not because we don't have any tulips in here. But we're going to, again, put down a layer of the light. And I'm going to do both of these leaves just because it's quicker. Normally you would work just sort of on a small section, but these are such small images that I think we're good. And then I'm just going to follow the vein on the leaf with the dark. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to shade it. I'm just going to leave it as is. Okay. And then these little sort of sprigs here, I'm just using the dark mint macaron to color those. I'm not doing any shading. They're such tiny little areas. It's just about impossible to do much shading on these little guys. So we'll just add a little bit of green and call it a day. Okay, there we go. Such fun images to color. So this is going to get popped up on our diamond here. So I've just rotated my square so it is in a diamond orientation. And we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of, I've got hair all over the place. I'm losing my hair, you guys. All right, so let's get rid of our backings here. And we're going to pop this on. I just want to kind of make sure that the diamond is oriented straight because we're going to put our envelope on straight. So we kind of want everything to be nice and straight. All right, now I actually did a double pop here. So I'm going to pop this and this. I know it's a lot to put through the mail. If you are concerned about that, you certainly can glue this layer flat. You don't have to pop it, but you know, I have a little bit of a problem when it comes to dimensionals. So we're going to double pop because I can. I will ask forgiveness rather than permission. Let's put it that way. So now this is the only step you kind of want to pay attention to. I like to actually take my, can I move this up so you can see? I'm going to put my card right down in the corner of my ruler here. And the halfway point is 2 3/4 of like on 5 1/2. So I just kind of want to line this up at the 2 3/4 mark. And just make sure my points kind of are in alignment there. Okay, just to make sure my diamond goes on straight. And then we're going to tie a double bow. Are you ready for this one? So this is our crinkled seam binding ribbon. So to tie a double bow, I'm basically just going to take fold it on itself, get a double thickness of it. Okay, the key to this is you want to keep your ribbon flat. Okay, keep it nice and flat and aligned. Okay, I'm actually going to trim this off the roll. All right, so then I'm going to make a loop. I've got a double thickness there. And I'm making a second loop. This is the same way I do my regular bows, but with a double thickness. And it's easy as long as you keep your ribbon flat and lined up. Okay, if you let it twist, you're going to end up with something you don't like. All right, so there is my double bow. Doesn't look so nice now. Give it a minute. So we're going to pull our tails. We're going to pull our knot nice and tight. And then we need to adjust one of the loops to be a little bit smaller than the other. Okay, and that, it gives us a nice double bow. It gives us the look of a double bow. Okay, so I always like to figure out which one is which. So that's that one. So we're going to pull these tails a little bit to make it a bit smaller. So double bows are no harder than singles. You just need to work at it a little bit to kind of tease the bow out. So again, pull those a little bit tighter. That one's still a bit big. I'm not liking this loop. Let's pull this loop a bit smaller. Nope, this loop. There we go. And make this one a bit smaller too. Come on, which one are you? There, nope. You stay put. It's grabbing both. Seam binding has lots of texture, and sometimes when you're trying to pull your loops, you get both of them moving. There we go. There's our cute little double bow. See? It's not that hard. You just have to tease at it and work at it a bit. But it's worth the effort because it just adds a little something. So I'm trimming my tails. I want them to be different lengths, and that is going to get adhered to the left corner of my little diamond here. So I'm just going to take and press the knot into a glue dot, and we're going to pop that on just like that. All right, now we need to do our sentiment. So I have these little bitty rectangles. These are actually a die cut, believe it or not. They kind of look like just scrappy offcuts. They are from the Fragrant Flowers dies from the new mini. And these little bitty rectangles are cut using a die from that set. So I'm going to ink up just hello. And I cut two because I'm not all that confident in my ability to get this centered correctly on these little bitty rectangles. If I try and it fails, we're just going to fussy cut. But we're going to try using the die cut and see what happens. So I'm inking up just the hello from my Hello There stamp using my Stampin' White marker. This is a basic gray. Okay. I'm going to give that a little bit of a huff and puff there. And then we're going to attempt, heavy on the attempt, to see if we can get this centered on here. Hold your breath, cross your fingers. Oh, no, not so great. We're going to fussy cut because we can. It'll look better. So I have still a little scrap of the postage stamp here. I'm going to ink up my hello again. I was worried. That's why I cut two of those, but I am under no delusion that I'm going to successfully stamp on that little tiny piece. So we're going to just stamp that and fussy cut. Same effect. So here we go. We'll trim this guy. And here we go. Super quick. Okay, same look, much easier. All right, so I'm going to just add a little bit of a glue dot to the end of my hello, and then I'm going to tuck a mini dimensional just in amongst the flowers there. So we'll add a mini. It's going to tuck right in there, and that's going to help adhere our hello. Just like that. Okay, easy peasy. And then we're going to add some more of my favorite embellishments. So we'll bring back our adhesive back sequins. And these guys, in case you have missed the memo, I've been using these a lot, but in case you were not aware, these come in a pack of 300. You get 300 of these things, 150 of each size. So there's a large sheet and a small sheet. Best deal on embellishments in the catalog. All right, now a quick show you on the inside of my sample. I added a little scrap of the same gingham DSP and again stamped my flowers and colored them just like I did on the front. Okay, so let me bring back all three projects from today. And then before I let you go, I'm going to show you a couple other ideas. All right. Okay, So again, as I said, I was having so much fun playing with this, and I was doing all kinds of beautiful, soft, bright colors. I thought I would try something a little different. So I went for something a little more subdued and vintage. This is a very different look. Same stamp set. Stamped that envelope a couple of times down the front. Added an embossed panel that I inked a little bit with my blending brushes, and then my little envelope. So there is another idea. And then this one, I just went crazy with my stamp. So I basically took that envelope stamp. Let me find what I did with it. Where did I put it? It's over here. I'll show you how I did it. I basically took the stamp, I stamped once, and then where the envelope is, I stamped right over top, 2, and then again 3, and then again 4. Okay, so it's really messy in the middle, but when you cover it up with this image, you don't see all that messiness, and you just see the flowers peeking out. Okay, so I colored them in nice, bright, bold colors, popped up my envelope as well, and just had some fun with that one. So there's another idea. And then before I let you go, I'm going to show you the 4 projects. So this is for my mini Stamp a Stack using this stamp set. So the cost of the class is $50. That's just the base cost. There are other options to add on some of the blends that we're using. But you are going to make 8 cards, 2 of each of these. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're actually going to get 8, 2 of each. And I always like making 8 because I can keep 1 and give 1 away, right? So it's $50 for 8 cards, including the stamp set and a pack of my favorite embellishments. Okay, so that is the base price. It is available both as a virtual class and an in-person. All of the details can be found at the link in the video description here. Okay? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I will see you again next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.